good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are in the world, right? Today, easy ergonomics. In other words, keeping your body healthy while using your computer. Hello, my name's Chet Davis, your technology tutor. Welcome to the program, Tech Talk with Chet, otherwise known as Tech for Experts and Authors. You know, today I just wanted to take a few minutes to break down this topic that a lot of us have probably heard about. Some of us maybe have learned in the past, but are you practicing it? And why it's so important is if you're spending multiple hours in front of technology, in front of a computer, a desktop or laptop computer. Today I'm focusing particularly on those rather than mobile devices. Because your body is in a kind of a static position for maybe 30 minutes, for 45 minutes, for multiple hours at a time. Maybe you're writing that next book, the next ebook, writing a training program, crafting that keynote speech for next week or that workshop that you're delivering. And I want to make sure that you're staying healthy, not only for the near times, but also the future in your life, because what we do, of course, can impact our health for a long period of time. And I think of a couple of my expert colleagues, speakers and authors who focus on that realm. And I should have them on a guest, as a guest in the future. But just a few minutes today to share with you, first of all, the issues that doctors are seeing, occupational therapists, etc., for folks that are using their technology for long periods of time. And many of us do because we're in that office. We're sitting down for long periods of time rather than moving about. And there's some really important things that I want to address. In fact, let me click on the background here and show you some of the most common problems that we're seeing. And the reason why we're seeing this is not if you're just using your computer for a few minutes. Maybe you walk over to your laptop, you sit down at your desk, or you lean over at your desk for a few minutes. That's not an issue. If you spend a single afternoon, maybe for a couple hours writing on your computer, that's less of an issue. But it's those who do, like us, who do this day after day after day, and it's the repetitive motion that ends up being the issue. So it's not that it's an occasional problem, but if you're one like me who spends hours in front of your technology, in front of your computer, and in the same position minute after minute, hour after hour, day after day, that's where we run into problems. So here are really the main issues. If you're keying for long periods of time without breaks or rest, and what I mean by that is, using your keyboard, you're sitting there. Some people used to call it typing, right? If you're typing for long periods of time, that's not a problem. But if you do it without breaks or without resting your body, and it's not so much resting your mind, there's some value in that. And yesterday we talked about, giving your eyes a break. But today I'm talking about giving your tendons, your muscles, your skeleton a break. So it's advisable at the very least every hour, and that's why I love my Apple Watch, is it reminds me, hey, Chet, time to get up and move around. So if you're doing that for the rest of your body, it also helps with your wrists and your arms and your elbows and your fingers and the tendons in your arm. Okay. Secondly, using force when striking the keys or gripping the mouse, because that tension can cause an issue with your muscular skeletal system. Oh, I almost sound like I know what I'm talking about there. If you are using your computer in a way that you have an awkward position with your neck or your shoulder or your elbow, for example, if I'm computing and I have to turn my head sideways to look at something, if I am looking down for long periods of time or looking up at a display or a monitor or looking sideways like this, ideally you want your body positioned totally straight onto the display. I should have a little graphic that says, perpendicular, so that my eyes, my head is perfectly in line with that screen, that display, that monitor on my computer, on my laptop or desktop. If you're remaining in the same position for long periods of time. So just like the first one, is if you're static and your body is sitting in that one same position. Remember, our bodies are not used to this. For thousands of years, maybe millions of years, we were hunters and gatherers. We moved about. We were around and about. We didn't just sit in the cave or sit in that log cabin, or like we do sometimes now and sit in that office for hours at a time. Get up and move around. And lastly, continuous pressure. If you are in that position and you find yourself, in such a way it's arranged so that the desk is maybe in an awkward position, and it's putting pressure on some part of your body, even if it's your wrist, if it's your hand, if it's your fingers, if it's your elbow, that's not a good thing for our body. We want to stay healthy and safe. So I think takeaway number one is think carefully about moving around occasionally. Get up from that computer. Set a timer, whether it's a kitchen timer, a timer on your computer, if you're using a smartwatch, any of those kind of things to remind you to get up, stretch your body, stretch the muscles gently around, move the eyes and look at something else like we talked about yesterday, and give your palms, your wrist, your fingers a break, because that's going to make a huge difference in your health. And this is not the kind of thing I really want to remind us. I'm a true believer. You can be at your best for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, but also for your audience, for your customers, for your business prospects, for the people you want to impact. When your health is at the best, then you are at your best and you have the best potential to impact others in this world. Let me run through a diagram and show you what I think after this research this week, 4 areas I would look at. Because this is an art and a science. I mean, occupational safety and health administration, universities, health insurance companies have lots of documentation. There are experts. You may be able to book an appointment with somebody either at your company if you're at a larger firm, or with your health insurance provider if you have specifics. And certainly if you're feeling things like tingling, if you have pains, if you have discomfort in your body and you believe it's related to work, definitely get an appointment with a professional, whether it's your primary care provider or somebody else in the organization, to look at that and address that, because you don't want to go forward with these long-term kind of health situations. All right, first of all, so here's kind of a general look at all the kinds of things that we look at in terms of a good computer workstation. Let me just highlight a couple. I'm going to highlight 4 areas that I think if you walk away with just attention to these 4, or even one of these 4, it's going to make a huge difference in your health and your comfort. First of all is your neck. So if you're sitting down at a computer, or if you're using a standing desk, which are more and more popular, make sure that the display, the monitor, the laptop you're looking at, your neck is not bent. It's not bent down, and it's not bent up, and it's not bent, you're not tilting sideways. It's straight on. And most of the professionals recommend that the display or the screen should be approximately 20 to 28 inches. So we're talking about 2 feet. 2 feet from your eyes to the display itself. And the display, like in this diagram you can see here, is slightly below. So the top of the display is like right where the eyes, if you're looking straight ahead. Okay, so first of all, the neck position, your head position, should be straight on looking at the display. All right, slide number 2, please, Chet. All right. I think we did that one, Chet. Okay, next one, please. There we go. Secondly is the elbows. And the next slide is actually the wrist. So these 2 together, ideally we want them at a 90-degree angle. Your elbow should be approximately at a 90-degree angle. If your elbow is tilted up to get up to a computer screen, to the keyboard, then that's an issue. If your elbow is at a lower angle, and I guess it'd be a larger angle, going back to my applied geometry, and it's going down, that's an issue as well. For maximum comfort, you want to have your elbow right there at a 90-degree angle, okay? That 90-degree angle, so that it's most comfortable with your body position. And if you're set up properly, what that does, that takes into line this next slide, and that shows that the position of your wrist is flat. So our wrist is flat. Our palm is not raised up, so the fingers are up, and that's why a lot of people, you see those wrist rests, those kind of soft squeezy things that people have on their desk sometimes. That's fine as long as it's keeping your wrist at that kind of, you can see that flat angle, so the fingers are kind of coming up and over the keyboard. Okay. And the last item, and you could go into great detail, and there's lots of articles online if you want. The Mayo Clinic has a really good article about using your computers, whether you're standing up or sitting down. And this is just really a summary, a distillation of this. The last thing, and this surprises a lot of people, is that your feet should either be resting flat on the floor. You'll notice that the knees are at a 90-degree angle. Of course, if you're at a standing desk, you don't have to worry about that. But your feet should be flat on the floor, not one leg crossed over the other, and not hanging from a chair that's too tall. If your chair is tall because that's the optimum angle to get, up to the desk or to the computer height, then what you want to do is get a footrest so that your feet are not dangling in the air. That can cause issues with your legs and the muscles, the tendons, etc. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. Again, just some simple tips. Is those of us who use laptops like I do, oftentimes if it's a desktop, it's sitting at the proper angle. But when we use a laptop, we may go down, and that's going to cause a problem pinching in the neck. So what you want to do is get a laptop stand. And next week I'm going to show you my laptop stand. Affordable, very easy to use, and it's a great little tool that puts my display up at a proper angle, so I'm looking straight out at the display. Okay, so that's today's little fun with ergonomics. Disclaimer: I am not a medical professional. I'm not going to diagnose the issues or problems for you. I won't even pretend to. I just wanted to share this kind of layman's explanation of ergonomics and some tips that you can put into practice right away to help feel more comfortable using technology and protect your body both in the near term and the far term. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like this page. Please do invite your friends, neighbors, and countrymen to like this page as well. Go ahead and click the like button. Share this page because I would love for you and your friends, your colleagues, your work partners to be aware next time I put some good resources online to help you use technology more successfully, more creatively, and more securely. Chet Davis, your technology tutor, saying thanks for tuning in today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 6:45 a.m. Pacific Time, 9:45 Eastern. The topic tomorrow, I'd love to share with you a website that will help you write better. What? That's tomorrow on the program. Make it a great day now. Bye-bye.